Former President Goodluck Jonathan says the ballots and not the courts should determine who wins elections in Nigeria. We'll give you details of his opinion about the judiciary and the electoral process. And the Senate Chief Whip Orji Uzor Kalu alleges sabotage on Buhari's government's effort as it laments the insecurity situation in the country. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimalia, Channels Television's global headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. We're here tonight with some of your top political stories. So let's get started, shall we? Let's begin by telling you what the former President Goodluck Jonathan said about Nigeria's electoral process. He says it's unfortunate that most of the time the judiciary has to intervene in our electoral process, determining who wins the election. The former president is advocating for a situation where the court is prevented from declaring a winner in an election. According to him, the ballot papers should be the only means of choosing political leaders. He was speaking today when he met some Nigerian youth in Abuja, the nation's capital.
The issue of the judiciary, I don't want to make more comment, but one thing as a politician, which I've made a public statement, I can't remember the exact platform I used. I said that in Nigeria today, that the judiciary select political leaders is not the best. The ballot paper should be the basis of selecting political leaders. If it is the judiciary that will select, it is not. We are not yet there. I'm not saying the judiciary are not doing well, but I mean our laws should suppress the idea of the judiciary returning candidates. If a candidate that won the election is fined one thing, so that election should be annulled and a fresh election conducted. The ballot paper must decide who holds any office from councillorship to the presidency. And that is democracy.
The Senate Chief Whip also spoke about the issues of rotation and the 2023 presidential election. We'll give you that in a moment. But let's get some thoughts on the situation in the People's Democratic Party and perhaps also begin to think about what happened yesterday in Imo State, in Owerri, where the Southeast governors made a bold move in resolving the insecurity in the region. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who organized a security summit yesterday, led to the decision of the region governors in deciding to set up a regional security outfit codenamed Ebube Agu. How far can that help in resolving the recent spate of attacks in the area? Plus, tonight, we'll also take a look at what has become a major issue in the People's Democratic Party, the main opposition political party, which is organizing congresses across the different regions of the country. The controversial one is that of the Southwest region, which was earlier relocated from Oyo State to Osun State. The former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, was reported to have said Governor Makinde of Oyo State is the leader of the region, after an intense past weeks of politicking over who will lead the party in the Southwest region. Let's get some thoughts now from a leader of the party, a former interior minister, and a senator representing Benue South in the National Assembly. Senator Abba Moro joins us via telephone. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Senator. I'd like to get your thought first and foremost on the issue of security, because this is one thing that you and your colleagues, when you were cabinet members, were working on. We've seen recent attacks on correctional facilities. I remember vividly that a few of those also happened when you were interior minister. But can you tell us, what has gone wrong with our security architecture? I know when you were in office, the issue of insecurity, especially insurgency in the Northeast, was a major problem. But we've seen in the southern region of the country a major issue where police formations, correctional facilities are being attacked. What, in your own view, has gone wrong?
Well, I think that what has gone wrong is actually the lack of political will to address the situation of insecurity in this country. And you will recall, like you said, when I was Interior Minister, every effort was made to contain the situation. Unfortunately, it kept dragging on, and the worst situation now is that it has not abated, and rather various dimensions of insecurity are rearing their heads. We have kidnapping now. We have armed robbery that has been a thing of the past for a long time. It's rearing its head once more. And banditry was essentially not part of the security challenges that we were facing at the time. But as it is now, armed banditry has become the order of the day. And you recall that when I was minister and we were in charge of the situation, we tried to make sure that we never negotiated with these bandits. We never negotiated with these terrorists. It's a common practice, one of the best practices in the world, that you don't negotiate with these bandits. And especially when negotiation has to do with the payment of ransom. The ransoms that are paid are definitely money that will be plowed into purchasing of sophisticated arms and ammunition by the insurgents. And so I want to think essentially that our major problem is lack of political will to address the situation. But right now, you don't know really, apart from the service chiefs that have just been put in place, whose place in history is to end this insurgency. And I have told them so. Even as vice chairman of the Army Committee from the Senate, I have told them, but look, you have a challenge. You have a historical duty. This thing cannot continue like this. We must do more than we are doing now. And right now, quite frankly, I think we have a major, scary situation on our hands in terms of security.
Senator, would you say there is a major legacy that you left as Interior Minister that could have helped in securing this country better? Because after the 9/11 situation in the United States, there are a lot of efforts that were put by the American people to ensure that insurgency and terrorism, especially on their homeland, is prevented. Were there anything that you put in place that you can tell us that perhaps are not being followed through?
Well, essentially, you know, when I was in charge of the Ministry of Interior, at the cabinet level, I was the chairman of the Federal Executive Council Committee that drafted the white paper on the report of the crisis in the Northeast. And the recommendations that were made were very clear. The soldiers who have intervened now to assume the duty of a regular civil police that should have ordinarily been in charge of civil situations, internal civil situations, have been somehow relegated. And we agreed at that point that, look, yes, soldiers can come in now, apart from forestalling external aggression. If we have an internal security situation that has overwhelmed the police system, then the soldiers can come in. As the soldiers come in and advance and liberate communities that have been occupied by these insurgents, it was agreed that police officers, policemen and women, civil defense officers should be trained to take over from wherever soldiers have liberated. Everywhere that the soldiers have liberated, police, specially trained police personnel and civil defense officers should take over from there and secure the place. That has not been done. Because as it is now, soldiers will liberate some areas, they will advance forward, and the insurgents will come behind them and take over the place again, cutting off the regular soldiers. And I think that is partly responsible for the casualties that we have been recording on the part of the armed forces of Nigeria in this
All right,
case.
Senator. So so we are due for a break, but I remember there are reports that your government at the time made use of the help of mercenaries in fighting some of the situation that we, just quickly before we go on a break, You think mercenaries could have also been used by the Buhari government?
Well, what you call mercenaries at the time actually wasn't, technically speaking, mercenaries. What happened at that point in time was that the United States government, the UK government, and other European countries who have been faced with similar situations that we are facing in Nigeria accepted or elected to help Nigerians in technical training, in training them appropriately to tackle such situations. Such were the persons that were on ground at that time. Technical officers from these forces from the United States of America and the UK, helping Nigerian soldiers, helping Nigerian police force to be able to assail these insurgents. And so, at the point that we are talking now, I am not sure that that is being used at the moment.
Okay, we are due for a break, Senator. Just for a moment. We need to go on a break, and when we come back, stay with us, Senator, because I'll be getting your view on the congresses of your party and some of the internal worries that are on the minds of some of the leaders of your party. We take a break, and when we come back, more on some of these issues. Join us again, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Senator Abba Moro, representing Benue South in the National Assembly, has been talking to us on the program tonight, and he's been speaking regarding issues of security. He's a former Minister of Interior under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. Just before I get your view on the issue of your party, PDP, and just have a few minutes to go, do you think that the government of Buhari has the capacity in resolving the security situation that we are currently facing in the country?
Well, I think that if we adopt the right approaches and people are properly motivated, there's no reason why the Nigerian government should not be able to overcome the security situation that we have now. You will recall that I introduced into the National Assembly recently a bill for the welfare of fallen soldiers. These are some steps that we can take to motivate these soldiers, believing that if they die for this country, there is something that their families can fall back on. So I think that the soldiers should be properly motivated, and Buhari, as the former general of the Nigerian Army, is in a better position to direct appropriately, personally involved in making sure that the soldiers do the needful to contain the situation. As it is now, there is some level of despondency on the part of especially the foot soldiers, because they are confronted by insurgents that are more sophisticated in terms of arms and in fact motivation. So I think that the president should rise up to the occasion, pick up the clarion call, and save this country from the menace of insurgency that we're having now.
Just before we get off the matter of security, some blames have been put on the doorstep of your administration when you were in government, as regarding the manner in which you handled the insurgency in the Northeast, issues of ammunition and what was spent and what was gotten. And some people will make inference that if your government at the time had done well, we wouldn't have been facing what we're facing right now. How do you respond to that kind of comment?
Akibole, I think every situation has its limitations, has its challenges. We were in government. We put our hands on the challenge of insecurity. We didn't do enough to completely decimate the insurgency in the Northeast. This government came on the promise of a change that within 6 months, within 1 year, whatever, they were going to be able to face up the challenge of insecurity and get done with it. I think that as long as we continue the blame game, the past is the past. We're talking about the present situation. We're talking about the government that has been in place now for more than 6 years. And so what have they done better than the government that they are blaming? We cannot continue to review the past. We cannot continue to lament the past. You are in charge now with all the resources that are available to you. We want Nigerians are looking up to A new government that has come in place, a new government that promised that they were going to be able to do better in the area of insecurity and sundry other matters that are affecting this country. And so I think that the earlier we stop blaming the past as being responsible for the present, the better for us, because this is a new set of persons, a new set of government that is in place that has promised Nigerians that insecurity will be a thing of the past within 6 months. We are 6 years into this administration now, and we are still faced with a multi-dimensional insecurity challenge. Is very scary. You can't sleep in your room now with 2 eyes closed. That is not the responsibility of the past government. We're talking about the present government.
Senator, just a moment, because I still have about 1 minute more with you. But let me tell our viewers what is happening in Oshogbo, the Osun State capital. Channel Television is monitoring the Congress of the People's Democratic Party there. There's been intense politicking over the past 2 weeks. We've heard Governor Ayodele, former Governor Ayodele Fayose, who said that things must be done right. Blames have been cast on some persons. People have been arrested with arms and ammunition. Accusing fingers have been pointed. But voting is ongoing as we speak. Let me allow you to listen to Governor Makinde of Oyo State. Was at the venue of that Congress earlier today. Take a listen to him.
So far is going well. I mean, before I was allowed to come in, I had to show them my driver's license. So we know quite well that there won't be ghosts. It's simple. This is a zonal congress, but it has ramifications, for our party at the national level. If we get it right at the southwest, then we know that the future will be bright for PDP at the national level. So this is not just coming to elect our zonal officials, but we are here to put forward our best, and they will in turn, assist us at the federal level.
I am because we have our people, and democracy is a game of number. We have our people, and we're going to win.
There you have it. The preparations as a voting is ongoing. Just quickly, Senator Moro, let me get your view. Your party says they want to regain prominence at the center in 2023. Do you see your party being able to rise above the iceberg, having had the shadow cast over it in 2 past election cycles? You were beaten in 2015, you were beaten in 2019. Do you see your party being able to rise again in 2023?
I think so, and I'm very, very optimistic, because in 2015, you remember, there was a new call by Nigerians. They want to change. PDP have been in government for about 16 years. They wanted a new set of Nigerians to come and take over and do better than the PDP. And as we're just talking now, our security situation is very scary. As I'm talking to you now, our infrastructural situation, very, very poor. And, of course, the poverty level in this country is rising by the day. So I know now that Nigerians have 2 sets of governments to compare with. The PDP that was in power and the APC government now that is in power. And I think that discerning Nigerians know now where their breads are buttered. And so I believe sincerely with the transparent and credible zonal congresses that are going, that will culminate in a national convention, very credible Nigerians will be picked to lead the country in the next dispensation. And I'm very, very optimistic that with the kind of situation that we find ourselves now, Nigerians will know better, and to know that the PDP government can do better than the present administration.
Senator Abba Moro, Senator representing Benue South of the National Assembly and a former Interior Minister, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
But that's our show for today. Many thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.